Adam Prozac, and there you see your semifinal competitors. Sam Black on the left, Daniel Duterte there on the right. Daniel Duterte, of course, just didn't really drop much on his way through this tournament. He has one loss in the last round, scooping to Steve Rubin. So he's going to be on the play here, and he's going to cast Gataxian Probe. See, well, a handful of lands, card that says lands, and a Punishing Fire. So this is kind of what you alluded to in the Open.
One thing notable about this hand, the colored mana sort situation is not great. There's 2 lands that don't tap for mana, a Wasteland, a Ghost Quarter, and a Thespian Stage. So he has to Ghost Quarter his own land if he wants to get a colored mana source. So this is a pretty speculative hand from Sam, but it can be really strong if Daniel just plays a creature on his turn. Sam's just going to be like, okay, Tabernacle, now you have all your creatures have upkeeps.
All right, Daniel puts out his sacrificial.
Yeah, he has
land.
decided to sacrifice, and there are no stifles to protect from Wasteland.
But Daniel is going to get to cast Brainstorm here. So let's start turn 1 over on turn 2.
Right. And so this is a really strong play from Sam. Daniel didn't have a play. So Sam's like, my hand needs time to develop. Let's set us both back a turn. I like my odds better if we both draw a card, essentially. So another Life from the Loam. So this puts Sam in somewhat of a predicament. I think I might play either Ghost Quarter or Thespian Stage here. So going with Thespian Stage.
So, and then the activation on Thespian Stage, not something you can just win on turn 2 with.
Correct. You can make a 20-20 on your second turn with Mox Diamond. So if you just play 2 Mox Diamonds, and those are your 2 land up, that's all you got to do. But that being said, it is not the fastest kill in the world, but there's a lot of disruptive elements that go along with it, and it is a pretty quick kill.
All right, we see a Wasteland now in hand for Daniel.
You can also Exploration a bunch of extra lands. That'll help. Wow.
So Daniel plays Scalding Tarn, just passes the turn back to Sam.
Don't you hate it in your 36 land deck and you just can't draw any more lands?
All right, well, there's Ghost Quarter. Now your expectation is that Sam will actually Ghost Quarter. Oh, he's going to Ghost Quarter.
He's going to Ghost Quarter Daniel, who has no basic lands.
Okay, and the players have had access to each other's decks. So it's pretty clear. Sam knows that it's much more useful to actually just strip mine his opponent here than set himself back to find that colored mana source.
All right, you wasteland me, I'll wasteland you. Maybe. I think Daniel wants to keep that in play for a bit because he's actually worried about some of the cards like Tabernacle, Pendrell Vale, Maze of Ith.
All cards that are in Sam's hand, including a Dark Depths as well.
Right. Oh, he just drew a Dark Depths.
He just drew a Dark Depths. Well, there's Maze of Ith. Non-mana producing land without the help of Urborg.
I mean, that's one of the strengths of this deck is that it uses unique cards that from all throughout Magic's history. Like, you have the Dark card and a Gatecrash card just hanging out together.
All right. Daniel cracks his fetch land.
So yeah, if Daniel's looking to get on the board, a simple Delver of Secrets probably isn't going to cut it.
All right, looks like he might have. Oh, well, he's got a True Name Nemesis.
That's an incredible card.
Yeah, and he will happily pay whatever Tabernacle tax is imposed on him.
Yeah, so this puts
this card.
This puts the impetus on Sam to win very quickly, actually.
All right, there's Tabernacle. And Daniel reaches.
Oh yeah.
Right for the die.
Don't forget that one.
Now he's got to read the Tabernacle here just to make sure.
Reading a card from 1994 is not the easiest thing in the world.
So that creature, yep, is destroyed. I mean, he's just checking to make sure.
He's just double checking that he has to pay. He does.
Yeah. Because interestingly, with Tabernacle, for example, if there was a Merit Lage token in play, which is indestructible, you would not have to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you could pay if you wanted.
Yeah, it's up to you.
But no point.
Yeah, Sam doesn't really have any answer to True Name Nemesis.
Yeah, the Maze of If is not useful here.
So the Punishing Grove, Punishing Fire Grove with the Burn Willows combo, no longer an option for Sam. That's too slow against a True Name Nemesis. Sam has to assemble his Dark Depth stage, which is going to be very challenging in the face of a Wasteland.
And possibly 2 Wastelands. There might be another one in hand.
There
it is.
So, yeah, this is... Daniel's a huge favorite, I think.
Now,
really
when do you want to pull the trigger on these Wastelands?
Once Thespian stage...
Oh, there's Grove of the Burn Willows.
Once Thespian stage is targeting Dark Depths.
Oh, really? You really want to wait that long?
I think, yeah. I think you want to destroy both lands. So you wait for the Thespian stage to become a Dark Depths so that the original Dark Depths legends itself. Then you can Wasteland.
Okay, here was Life from the Loam, and that's going to get Spell Pierced.
And so Sam has some potential counterplay. He can, activate his Wastelands on Daniel's Wastelands to kind
all
of free
3
him
of
up.
them.
That's 150% more challenging. Wow.
So he right now decides to take away all the mana producing lands here.
That's a fine decision. Thespian stage is something you probably want to, disrupt the combo anyway.
So here's a Verdant Catacombs.
So here's actually a big play. Like I think Sam really needs an exploration to just kind of, get ahead, get his game going. He was trying to, play Life of the Loam to try and maybe bait out some counter spells, but now I think he really has to go for it. Exploration is very important to Sam being able to get there.
And there it is.
And
can Daniel do anything about it is the question.
Looks like no. I think he has a Ponder, but he might have. No, he has a Ponder and a Young Pyromancer, but I don't know what his other cards are.
All right, and there's so a Thespian stage. Okay, see him leaving his mana tapped for the Tabernacle payment.
So True Name's not the quickest clock in the world, but Sam doesn't really have much in the way of things to prevent that 3 damage. He basically only has the card Glacial Chasm, which is a, keeping with the spirit of things, a non-mana producing land.
All right. It looks like Sam does have a Dark Depths in his hand here. But
he also
has to take his
access to a lot of Dark Depths. One might say as many as he needs.
Yeah, we heard from Luis Scott Vargas that there was a game he was playing out on the floor, very similar setup to what Sam has here, where he made 5 Merit Lage tokens. His opponent just kept plowing them, and he just kept life from
plowshares.
And he kept casting Swords of Plowshares, and he just kept gaining 20, and he just kept Life from the Loaming the combo back and replaying it in one turn. And oh, there was a Bajuka Bog, and there's the Dark Depths. This is not a good spot for Daniel here. He's got Sam down to 7.
Right, he has a Lightning Bolt in hand. Maybe. I think one of them is a Young Pyromancer. But yeah, Really surprised Daniel hasn't fired off his ponder. He's just looking for something.
Yeah, he's thinking, he's doing the math right now.
Mm-hmm. I think the difference is, can Daniel find another lightning bolt? 'Cause I think Sam is going to be able to make a 20-20 on his next turn.
All right, well, here's ponder.
Unless Daniel disrupts him in some way. And that can be there's a wide variety of ways. Like a counter spell for a life from the loam. Well, because Sam needs a wasteland. So if Sam plays a wasteland and wastes Daniel's wasteland, that forces the action and allows Sam to make a 20-20.
And then Sam gets to make the 20-20 in response to wasteland.
Mm-hmm. That is a checklist card, so Delver of Secrets.
So now what happens if Daniel just wastelands here? Does that give him an extra turn to try to pull it together?
Because of the life from the loams in Sam's graveyard. If, say, Daniel just wastelanded the Dark Depths right now, Sam would just life from the loam, whatever land Sam turned like. So Wasteland's actually not an amazing card against the lands deck. Can be very strategically well placed, but it is not the lights out card that you might think it is.
All right, here comes Life from the Loam.
Oh, thing I hadn't considered is Sam needs 2 mana producing lands to get his Thespian stage to copy the Dark Depths, which he doesn't have if he has to cast a Life from the Loam.
Okay.
So Daniel might be able to win with just 1 lightning bolt. Huh.
And Daniel is considering firing off this wasteland in response
to the Life from the Loam.
To the Life from the Loam, which is, I guess, selected its targets already?
I believe so.
Yeah. So it's going to get...
So Sam's getting back 2 non-Dark Depths lands. So Sam would need another Dark Depths naturally in his hand to make a 20-20 this turn. So that's potentially a pretty strong line.
All right, there's Grove of the Burnwillows.
Daniel, I would like you to gain a life.
Yep, he goes up to 16. There's a second copy of Exploration.
All right, so 2 copies of Thespian Stage now, and a Ghost Quarter.
Now, if you're Daniel, do you just fire off this bolt here
and
hope for the best?
The other thing is, if you don't, you have 2 red sources.
Right, because the Flooded Strand represents a red source.
Mm-hmm. So if you draw a lightning bolt, you could just fire them both off fairly easily. And I don't see him otherwise choked on mana. What did he draw? Did he draw Forked Bolt? I believe he did. Is there a Forked Bolt in his deck? Yeah, there is one.
Well, that would do it then, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So what Daniel's thinking about is a potential... Wow. So the thing Daniel would be thinking about is potentially a way to get green mana so that he can crop rotation for Glacial Chasm. But I think if Daniel has both a Lightning Bolt and a Fork Bolt, I think he has to at least fire off the Fork Bolt.
Okay, well here is Life Alone. Hits a wasteland in his 2 wastelands actually with his dredge. He's going to cast Life from the Loam.
Oh, Guess so. One of the things Sam might be trying to do as well is just destroy all of Daniel's lands, so he can't pay for the upkeep on True Name Nemesis.
Okay.
That's also a plan. Usually, Usually easier to just make a 20-20. But I think Daniel's going to win this game unless Sam has a sneaky
because the Merit Lage will
rotation.
still have summoning sickness.
Right. Daniel has a burn spell.
So here you see 3 lands being poked at with varying forms of land destruction.
Yep.
And
I would like to lightning bolt you.
yes. Lightning bolt you, reduce Sam to 1. Can Daniel keep his mana through to his next turn?
I think he can. I believe the Thespian stage is a Ghost Quarter, but I don't think that matters. You can't Daniel will be able to fetch a land and pay for it before Sam has the opportunity to Ghost Quarter the fresh land. Assuming Daniel waits to his upkeep to fetch, which I highly suspect.
Wow, this has been a tense game.
Yeah. The 3 a turn clock of True Name Nemesis. Now the clock's finally striking 0 in this case for Sam. Sam's trying to figure his way out.
Okay, so his upkeep.
Yeah, upkeep. I'm going to go find a land. I'm going to pay for my True Name Nemesis.
Yep. Pay. And Sam's going to pick him up.
Wow.
Now, I'm curious now why, unless there's just no more red sources available to him, because he could have also, just on his own turn, if he could have fetched a red source, cast Fork Bolt, cast Lightning Bolt,
right.
And then you're dead. Obviously, worried about Glacial Chasm is something that he has to think about.
That might have been the case where
I'm
looks
looking
like he
at
only
it.
has 2 red sources, 2 volcanic islands.
Yeah, just those 2 volcanic islands, and then Deathrite Shaman's really his other regular source
So
of
that
red.
might have been, yeah.
I think he was out.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there you get a look at Sam Black's list. And you can just, if you want to see his opening hand, just look for all the non-mana producing lands, and you can start to piece it together. What do you think is going to happen here from the sideboard? Drop of Honey is a card we've seen show up quite a bit.
So Lands is one of those decks that has kind of a structural integrity that you don't really want to disrupt unless you are somehow fundamentally altering what your deck is doing. So sometimes you might want to take out the Punishing Fire. Sometimes there might be some utility lands that you don't need. But for the most part, I wouldn't expect Sam to sideboard very heavily. You could make an argument for some chokes.
Yeah.
Chalice of the Void is also another card you can make a good argument for. But I doubt he will bring in too many other things. The Drop of Honey, maybe, but I don't anticipate that.
Okay. Well, let's see what Daniel might do after his sideboard against this Lands deck. I have to imagine Surgical Extraction is at the top of the list.
If not, it should be. Yeah. So Surgical Extraction just takes the kind of the life out of the Life from the Loam deck. That's the one you really want to hit. If you can catch them with a Life from the Loam, they don't really have their engine going. The other 2 cards I see featuring prominently are the Diabolic Edicts. Sam's deck basically only produces 1 creature. It's a 20-20. And so making him sacrifice that is fairly important.
Let me ask you a question about Daniel's, just going back to his main deck for a second. Is it surprising for you to see a deck, especially a deck that's done as well as Daniel's has this weekend, with cards like Ponder, Lightning Bolt, Cataxian Probe, Brainstorm, all these cheap spells, and blue mana? I'm not seeing Snapcaster Mage.
No Snapcaster
anywhere
Mage
in this deck.
So
how unusual is that for a deck of this archetype?
Not entirely unusual. So Snapcaster Mage would be so Daniel wants to be really low to ground, wants to play with only 1 or 2 lands in play. Wants to use Wastelands the rest of the time. The only cards that cost mana in this deck, more than 1 mana in this deck, are True Name Nemesis and Young Pyromancer, both of which provide a kind of resilient threat that Snapcaster Mage can't provide.
I like how we ignore the 7-mana Gurmag Angler as anything
that costs
other than a 1-mana spell.
Of course. Its converted mana cost might be 7,
yes,
but
of course.
It's a 1-mana spell.
Yeah. Same thing with Force of Will, obviously. If you're just looking in the upper right-hand corner, that cost can be deceiving when it comes to Magic.
Absolutely. And, a lot of Legacy is about paying 0 and 1 mana card for your spells.
So Surgical Extraction, you mentioned the Edict. Cabal Therapy, not an exciting card against this deck.
Not terribly. A lot of the main card you actually want them not to cast is Life from the Loam, and a discard spell doesn't stop them from doing that.
All right, so you're expecting basically those 4 cards to come in.
Yeah, I think the Young Pyromancers are pretty weak because they're both bad against the Tabernacle.
Sure.
And the Punishing Fire. They're actually pretty good against the card Maze of Ith, but I would still look to side some out. And I'd also probably look to side out some, like the Forked Bolt definitely doesn't need to be in the deck.
Okay. Well, there you see some of the options available to these guys out of sideboard. We'll get a look soon enough at what they actually did. But do you, in general, how do you find this matchup? What's your general take on this matchup?
So one of the main reasons to lands players believe that their Delver matchup is one of the main reasons to play lands. Typically, I would say I would want to be on the land side of things. I just think that their long-term Life from the Loam, they don't play the same mana game as the rest of Legacy. They get to ignore cards like Daze and Spell Pierce and even Force of Will to a large extent.
Now, from the Delver side of things, how likely is it that, how much do you have to prepare yourself for a deck like Lands? How much of this do you expect to see in such a wide open field like Legacy?
So Lands is not a large percentage of the metagame, but it is such a unique deck that you get huge, like the first few games you practice against a Lands deck provide massive returns on how you should play the matchup. It's not something like, when I would play Legacy a lot, I could never find somebody that had a Lands deck to play against. Only randomly getting paired against Magic on was the other. Just like so few people play the Lands deck. It's picked up more now. Now that players have seen its strength.
Yeah.
But.
All right, here we see turn 1 Mox Diamond from Sam Black. Both players kept their opening hands.
I see a gamble.
Yeah.
I see Amonkhet making an appearance.
Yeah, discards one of the new cycling dual lands.
Yeah, cycling lands are amazing with Life from the Loam.
I mean, that was really when this deck first emerged. It was really almost like a card draw engine with multiple cycling lands.
Yeah.
It's gotten to be a much leaner killing machine.
All right.
Here we see Sam is just getting things right off to a big start here with Life from the Loam, just for 1 land back, but what he really wants to do is just start dredging.
Yep. Unfortunately for Sam, I think his Life from the Loams are about to get surgically extracted.
Oh, really? Just right away, huh?
Yep.
Oh, no. There it is. And you see Gamble. Is that a
Ghost Quarter?
Ghost Quarter and Thespian Stage?
Mm-hmm.
And 1 Life from the Loam down, 2 Life from the Loam down. This is where you hope your opponent misclicks on Magic Online and leaves you 1.
Oh, I've misclicked my fair share, yeah. Especially on a card like Life from the Loam, I'll just left the card in the graveyard, and it's like, oh yeah, forgot I needed to click on that one.
And so there it goes. So now,
so Sam did bring in the Drop of Honey. It's right there.
Oh, okay.
Right in the front, yeah. Wasn't sure if he'd bring it in or not.
And then you see Daniel wasn't having any trouble finding those. He was just making sure he knew what was in store for him the rest of this game.
Yeah, he wants to see how Sam sideboarded. I think I have some. Let's see. If I'm Sam, definitely can't make a 2020 next turn. Probably could in 2 turns. So if I'm Daniel, that means I'm gonna try and play out a few cards. I might play a Ponder, might play Delver of Secrets, Deathrite Shaman, any of that stuff. But yeah, Sam's in.
Did Sam just natural draw the combo? Did he just draw Dark Depths?
Hard to tell. Yep, looks like it.
Wow.
So that's helpful. He had a gamble to go
Yeah.
find a missing piece. But I think the hard part for him is going to be Daniel's Wasteland. Oh wow. I think this is a big misstep from Daniel, unless he has.
Daniel's the one with the gamble here.
Yeah.
And Sam is going to cycle.
Sam's going to be
his
able
thicket.
to play a Dark Depths, activate Thespian Stage, and just make a 2020, and Daniel won't have a response. Whereas if you played Wasteland.
Sam is going in a different direction here.
Yeah,
He's playing the Tireless Tracker that he brought in out of his sideboard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Sam's seat, I would have just gone for it.
And what's the risk of going for it at that point?
Well, so you lose 2 of your lands, and you kind of lose your ability to play this Tireless Tracker. You lose that stuff. So Sam would actually be giving up quite a bit to play Dark Depths.
All right, well, Daniel thought enough of that Tireless Tracker to Force of Will it. He's going to, again, has a 3-power creature in play.
And if I'm Daniel, I would actually have used my Scalding Tarn right there.
Oh, you don't want that Lightning Bolt?
I don't want that Lightning Bolt.
All right, he's going to Ponder. Maybe that's why he wanted to keep his Scalding Tarn, knowing he had the Ponder and could take the best card and then shuffle away the other 2.
Yeah, and so the other thing is, looking at it is that there's not a ton of fetchable lands to get. If Sam can Wasteland 6 times, Daniel's out of lands.
All right, well, now we see a young Pyromancer.
Mm-hmm.
But Daniel continues to not play that Wasteland.
that's...
And now here's an exploration for Sam.
So, not playing the Wasteland into Ghost Quarter makes some amount of sense.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. The Ghost Quarter is certainly an issue.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where Daniel tries to pick his spot.
But you could just play the Wasteland and hit the Thespian Stage. I don't know. Just keep him. Now he's got to deal with a 2020.
Yep, here comes 2020s.
So Dark Depths is on the table. Going to play a gamble.
So I wonder what Sam wants to gamble for here.
What would you gamble for here?
So the things I'm thinking about here are, how do I assemble another one of my combos?
So you start thinking about Punishing Fire.
Punishing Fire, Grove of the Breno. So my answer is I wouldn't have gambled here. But I think Sam is looking for some sort of, long-term, what happens if my 2020 doesn't work out thing. So I saw him, Sam cited in his Molten Vortex as well.
Oh, very nice. That's
right,
a Stormbind-like card.
Mm-hmm. Lets you discard lands to damage the people. So Exploration is not what Sam gambled for.
Okay. So we're going to find out what that is when we get a look at his hand.
Mm-hmm. And then if I'm Sam, I probably make the 2020 on his upkeep. It's very... Yeah, so now he can't make the 2020 this turn.
Oh, and that's also possibly why... What happens with... Okay. In comes the Insectile Aberration. We'll let this play out and see how it works. If Sam uses the Ghost Quarter here.
So if Sam uses the Ghost Quarter on Daniel's Wasteland, Daniel can Wasteland the Dark Depths, and Sam doesn't have 2 extra mana to use his Thespian Stage. That is the kind of the drawback to spending a mana on gamble.
All right. Sectile Liberation has a long way to go.
Got to start somewhere.
It's got to get 4 more attacks in here before that Lightning Bolt can close it out.
Well, the Deathlight Shaman might be able to speed it up a little bit, but I think we got quite a ways to go for...
And keep in mind that an Insectile Aberration can also buy a turn.
Yep, absolutely. I think that might end up being really important this game.
Right? They are allowed to block.
Oh, we got a Chalice of the Void, I bet.
Oh, very interesting.
It's a good card to gamble for against this deck, but don't think... Yeah, if
So
Sam...
is he Chalice on 2 because he's worried about Diabolic Edict?
I was thinking about that, but he can't, because if he Chalices on 2, then he just gets his land wastelanded. So he'd have to find another backup copy of whatever gets wastelanded. So he needs all of his mana.
Fascinating. All right.
I think he's just, kind of realizing that it's like, this gamble thing didn't work out.
So there's another copy of Wasteland for Daniel, and that's huge. Because now he can force the action.
Right. Well, he doesn't even have to, but Sam can no longer make a 20-20.
Wow.
Wow, this is crazy.
Now, do you feel like Daniel has played against this lands deck before?
I think so.
All right, so here is Ghost Quarter. What is Sam going to target?
I wouldn't be surprised if Sam's like, I have to target Underground Sea. Because Ghost Quartering here would not make sense otherwise. Unless there's a crop rotation.
He's like, okay. I will Wasteland your Dark Depths in response. He crop rotated Wasteland. Used his Ghost Quarter on the Wasteland. He's got 2 gambles in hand now?
He does. But I don't think he has the time for him.
All right, here we go. Pick up those dice. We're gambling.
Yeah, so something like Tabernacle doesn't do it. Like Glacial Chasms, it'll buy you turns, but that's not a winning line.
Tabernacle's kind of interesting here.
Tabernacle could do some work here.
Right, it really makes it almost impossible for Daniel to...
Right, it forces a Wasteland, I think.
Oh, sure. He can just Wasteland. He'll just Wasteland the Tabernacle.
Mm-hmm. But, that's progress.
Right, and then you still have another gamble to go get the other combo piece.
Mm-hmm. But again, I don't think he has the mana to activate Thespian Stage.
Oh.
And gamble twice.
Sam massaging the scalp.
Sam's like, how do I get out of this? He's made his decision.
The gambles become increasingly more risky as the game goes on. And
you have
don't
fewer
have
and fewer
7 cards in hand.
Yes.
I see them just going over it. Exploration again.
What did he get?
Looks like Mazavith.
Okay.
So just wanting to hold off that 3 points of damage a turn for as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe buy himself enough turns for that second copy of Gamble to get him what he needs.
Makes sense. So
he's thinking about gambling first, though, because he's like, well, I might want to discard this Mazavith
right.
and gamble.
Oh, what an interesting game. Oh,
He
wow.
extends the hand. He's like, you have a lightning bolt, right? And he's like, yeah, I do. Daniel Duterte through to the finals here at Grand Prix Seattle.
Nice. Congratulations to
Just
Daniel.
playing the Wasteland game.
Yep.
Against the lands deck, not a long-term solution, but really.
Also, had to play the surgical extraction.
I was just going to say
game.
that surgical extraction you talked about in the pre to that game was absolutely critical. Just gets that turn 1 life from loam from Sam, the perfect setup for his deck.
Right, Wasteland. Once you surgical life from without life from the loam, Wasteland becomes incredible against this lands deck. It's like the life from the loam is what gets the engine going and what kind of makes it immune to a lot of the kind of the reactions that one might make to a lands deck.
Yeah, no, great job by Daniel. And getting some emails coming in on the phone from people at home. Pretty excited for him.
Oh, look, a new match.
Oh, there we go. Keaton Wood playing Miracles up against Jeremy Desani with the Sultai control deck. Both players have won a game. Keaton looks to have the mana advantage and the old black-bordered counterspell advantage here.
I really appreciate Keaton's choice of Magic cards here. I think either Beta or Alpha Islands.
All right, there is a Hymn to Torak. And the Brainstorm's great here. You're either going to find something.
Discard it turns Hymn to Torak into a Mind Rot.
Yeah.
You basically get to choose what you'll be discarding. Not a full choice because Keaton has more than 4 cards in hand, but he's going to discard some. Oh, he does.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, that's Jace.
A key to this Miracles deck.
Snapcaster Mage is going to get Force of Will.
Oh, wow.
So Keaton has all the he has the lands advantage, but Jeremy's the one with cards in hand.
Yeah, he has all the cards in hand here.
Probably the ones he couldn't cast.
Including a Snapcaster Mage, a Leovold.
Looks like 2 Abrupt Decay.
Yeah. So what is... Are we just waiting for Jeremy to decide what blue card he's pitching?
Correct.
Wow. All right, so Brainstorm for Jeremy. And finds pretty much whatever he needs here. Well, he's got another land. He's got a Baleful Strix.
There's a fetch land, I believe.
I'm just going to let him start climbing his way out of this.
Yeah, Jeremy firmly with the advantage here. Now that once he's gotten over his mana issues.
Yeah, he's going to play the Strix, yeah. And so, yeah, Keaton knew what that card was.
Wonder what it would be. So it's definitely one of his better cards because he
protected it. Yeah,
he protected it from Hymn to Torak. It's not a Jace. It's not a Back to Basics or anything like that.
Yeah, I wonder if Jeremy saw Back to Basics in one of the other games. You see that?
Well, they both know each other.
Oh, they know the deck list. Yeah. Of course.
So I'm sure these Abrupt Decays are very important for Jeremy to keep off the table. Well, he does have a few basic lands. It actually has 100% of the basic lands in his deck on the battlefield right now. So just 1 island, 1 swamp. It's not like Modern where you have a lot of incentive to play a lot of basic lands with cards like Path to Exile and Field of Ruin. Legacy, there's, basically like Ghost Quarter, Wasteland protects you a little bit. But playing zero basics in your whole deck, it's a pretty defensible decision. Yeah. One that I'm sure Keaton has taken advantage of many times this tournament.
Yeah. All right, so here we see a Snapcaster Mage come down at the end of Keaton's turn. He's just brainstormed and played a fetch land, so he's going to get to see some fresh cards next turn. But, Jeremy wants a little bit of that action himself.
Jeremy's like, I would like some of these sweet Magic cards in my hand.
You're going to get to put 2 Abrupt Decays back down on top. Maybe 1. And taking a peek through the graveyard.
I think Jeremy should be careful to.
Jeremy's always very careful.
Oh, he's very careful and methodical, but he should be careful in his actions to not expose himself to back to basics. I think that's one of the primary ways he loses this game, is to not keep at least a green source available to him.
So that he can cast Abrupt Decay.
Abrupt Decay. So he has a swamp, but he definitely needs a green source available. So I would be very shocked if Jeremy cast his Leovold.
Okay. Now he's going to Thoughtseize and see what's going on here.
I wonder what is going on. The Pyroblast is going on.
And I wonder, was that the card he protected?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Something we've talked about as a clean answer to Leovold. And we may see a Leovold here now.
Mm-hmm.
Now he may risk the one turn
right, the
window of
and
a back to basics.
So if Keaton does draw back to basics, he's still got to deal with the 6 power on board as well. No back to basics, no answers to creatures. Looks
no
like
Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Yeah, it looks like Jeremy's in the driver's seat. Well, Jace the Mind Sculptor isn't actually that strong against Leovold.
Oh, true.
Like I might
Fate Seal, you draw a card.
Yeah. I mean that's one of the better modes. I can assure you it's better than brainstorming.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, there is Jace
well, speaking
for
of
Jeremy. Jace. And he's just
Jeremy would like to brainstorm.
Yeah, he's going to just, I think, always a temptation to your opponent's in a bad spot.
To Fate Seal. But, this is fetch land, and if this board gets answered, Jeremy's
there we
doesn't
go.
have much.
Jace goes upstairs. There, you can keep it. It's the best card in your deck. Shuffle it away.
I don't know what the best card in Keaton's deck. Probably, does he have Entreat the Angels?
How sick would it be if it was an Entreat the Angels?
Not possible.
Oh, okay.
We cannot. Keaton does not have.
That's not a miracle available to him?
Not a miracle available.
Is this really a miracle deck then?
It's got Terminus in it.
It's a minor miracle. It's called minor miracles.
Yeah, minor miracles. I like it. That's a good name. This Pyroblast.
All right, Pyroblast.
I would like to draw a card. You targeted
my
creature. And now I can play my Jace.
Okay, there's Jace.
And now, here's the thing. You have a Jace. You're facing 3 power of attackers.
You have to tick up here, right?
I think you have to tick up. I might tick up targeting myself because I'm so desperate. And then you can play the Jace Fate Seal mind games. You leave it on top, and then Jeremy, it's but yeah, Keaton should get to.
So the question, let me get this straight though. Jeremy left the Pyroblast on top when he Fate Sealed.
Mm-hmm.
So he was playing the mind game.
Yeah.
And
Keaton's like, okay,
I'll draw it. Yeah.
Nice. Good for you, Keaton. I missed that. That one was really cool.
I mean, unless Jeremy just wanted to draw a card. All right. So Jace ticks down to 2. Another Baleful Strix. What can Keaton draw here that will get him out of this?
Terminus for 1. Also has to find a way to deal with Jeremy's Jace.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he's behind in the Jace race.
I think that involves some Pyroblasting.
Now, he's decided it's time to, dig for some cards. Does have a Snapcaster Mage.
That counts as a Pyroblast, I think.
Yeah.
Although, if I'm not mistaken, one of Jeremy's interaction is Flusterstorm.
He does have a Flusterstorm.
So I think if he plays a land, if Keaton plays a land, he can pay for Flusterstorm. Not anymore.
All right. So Ponder looks 3 deeper.
I think he likes what he sees.
What did you see?
I think he likes the second card. Okay, so
Oh.
he decided to shuffle. I believe the second card was a Terminus.
Oh, you thought he was going to leave that there
Mm-hmm.
by a turn. All right. So he's going to Snapcaster right now. Targeting Pyroblast on the Jace. But that is going to get Flusterstormed to death. And now Abrupt Decay is going to take down the Snapcaster Mage. And Jeremy is going to be able to attack Keaton down to 3.
Well, I think Jeremy's going to kill the Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Okay.
Last turn he attacked it, had a 2-turn clock, decided not to take that in order to lower Jace's loyalty. So we got Liliana of the Last Hope, Deathrite Shaman.
And Abrupt Decay in hand. Just sends everything at the Jace. Doesn't want to take any chances.
Yeah, he's taking his good old time.
This is as reckless and pell-mell as we've seen Jeremy play. Okay, he's going to crack the Verdant Catacombs.
So Jeremy now gets to play Liliana Last Hope, which Keaton basically has no answers to in his whole deck. It's 1 Council's Judgment.
Which he, right, he also doesn't have a second white for the
Right,
Council's
so,
Judgment
yeah.
at this point. So there's Liliana, the Last Hope. That's going to go down to 1. Yeah. I think he wants to pick up a Snapcaster Mage here.
Or Leovold.
Or Leovold, yeah. Nice call. Puts the Leovold down.
Here comes lethal damage.
Yeah, he's like, do you have an answer?
That's not going to work.
Oh, no. No.
So you get to look, but don't draw a card.
Oh, Keaton actually looked 4 cards, like kind of deliberately. He's like, you got me.
Right, so,
all right, well,
yeah,
great
Jeremy
job.
takes that 2-1.
Yeah, great job this
he is
weekend,
on
Keaton.
to the final.
Great job this weekend. And, yeah, Jeremy Desani with this, Leovold control deck. He's going to be playing against Daniel Duterte with the Grixis Delver deck. Who do you like in that matchup, real quick?
It's a tough one. Jeremy's been playing great, but so has Daniel. I'd give it to Daniel slightly.
All right, New York and Seattle are happy to hear that. For Adam Prozac, this is Brian David Marshall. We're done for the day, but we've got Marshall, Sutcliffe, and Reed Duke coming up right after this with the finals from Grand Prix Seattle.